Kia ora friends, welcome back to my studio. Today I thought I would just do a really quick little video on the review of my 3D printer. This is not a sponsored video, this is not a product review. I am by no means an expert, so this is just absolutely my opinion and how I've experienced the printer so far. So I thought I'd share some of those experiences with you. Some of the pros, I guess, around this particular printer, and being very new to 3D printing in this part of the hobby, I really wasn't too sure which direction to go in, and there are a couple of different types of 3D printers. One uses a roll of filament, it's called an FDM printer, and then the other one uses the liquid resin. So the reason why I went on with this one, because I do live in a small apartment and I was really concerned about the level of toxic chemicals that the liquid resin emanates, and I don't really have a proper way of venting it outside. So I thought, for the first one, I thought let's just go with this one, because at least I know that it's safer inside. And especially with Loki running around, I didn't really want to endanger him, and also just make sure that I'm safe as well. So that was one of the main reasons why I decided to go with this particular printer. It came in a box, it was all in pieces, it wasn't really ready assembled. So I did need to assemble it. The instructions were all pictures and were pretty self-explanatory. Everything was there was no pieces missing, and it went together really easily, and most of the components were actually connected already, which was great, and there were just a couple of pieces that I needed to fit together. So once that was all done and the little display unit just pops on, it just worked straight away, which I was really happy with. Aligning the plate, which is the other thing that I needed to do before starting the print, just to make sure that the print head is low enough to the plate so that when the filament comes out and it's hot, it'll actually stick to the plate. If it's too far away when it starts, it doesn't stick to the plate, and then things move around and chaos happens. So that was also really easy to do, and the instructions were really clear on that. It has a micro SD card, and that is really super simple to use on your computer to download files, save it to the little micro SD card, and then transfer that over to the printer. As soon as you plug it in and go hit the print option, the file's right there. It doesn't take, it's nanoseconds for it to load up into the machine, and then for it to be able to read it and actually get it going. It's reasonably quick. I've really got nothing to compare it to, so in my mind, something that is a couple of inches tall takes about, maybe an inch tall, takes about an hour, depending on how big it is. But generally what I'm finding is that the time for it is, if it's a really tall item, that is generally going to take a lot more time than anything that's low and flat. Because obviously it's got to build up the layers, and the layers are the things that take time. Seems self-explanatory, but that was just something that I've learned, so I thought I'd share that with you. It's not good for really small, delicate items. I've printed a couple of things, and it does print its own supports. The supports are quite chunky, which is probably one of the downsides to it. So for anything detailed and delicate, it just doesn't handle it. It doesn't handle it at all. But anything that's more solid and chunky, it is fantastic at, and the details that come out in that are just phenomenal. So I've printed off a couple of things. Actually, I've pretty much had it going the whole time since I've had it, so there's no shortage of things to print. There are no shortage of websites online where you can download free files and print those, so I haven't had any problem trying to find things to print. The door knockers from last week's video, they were on Thingiverse, which is a free website for files. As soon as I spotted them, I'm like, oh, just got to make those. So that was really cool, and they printed off really awesome because they were nice and flat and pretty solid. So I'll show you an example in a minute of a failed print, which has been really interesting. So all in all, I'm really happy that I've invested the money into this machine. It is absolutely one of the best investments I've made this year, and it's only the beginning of the year. Well, kind of. It's almost June, isn't it? Oh my god. So yeah, anyway, let me show you a print that I've just did a couple of days ago, and it's something that we might actually end up painting up today. So I'll show you the file that comes on with the software, with the machine. That's just on my computer. So this is actually what I was going to print. It is BB-8 from Star Wars, it's R2-D2 from Star Wars, and C-3PO. So 3 droids that are really popular, really well known, and I thought, it's May the 4th be with you. I thought, why not print something to do with Star Wars? So let me just show you BB-8. So BB-8 came out really well, even his little antenna on the top. I don't know if you can quite see that. So he came out really well. No supports. That's exactly how he came off the printer. So I'm really happy with that. The details are okay. There's not a lot of details on him, but he's pretty cool. R2-D2, he came out also pretty well. There were a lot of supports sitting up underneath him, so I've had to snip those away, and there'll be a bit of cleanup that I'll need to do, but all in all, came out pretty well. So I'm really happy with him. He's going to paint up quite cool, so we'll paint him up very shortly. However, C-3PO didn't quite make the cut. So this is what we've got. I don't know if you can see that. It is a mess. You can vaguely see a little bit at the top. This is his head and shoulders. I have no idea what happened with the rest of him, but that is definitely a failed print. I have a feeling that there was just too many small details that weren't supported enough or well enough, and this is also part of him as well. So you can kind of see we've actually got a leg here. I don't know if you can quite see that. So it started off with the supports, and then for some reason it has failed right through the middle, and so this is what we've got left, which is just this absolute mess. So not everything comes out perfectly, and sometimes things don't go to plan. So that's one thing I've trying to learn, and when I'm looking at files to print off, definitely looking at them with a much different lens than probably what I did when I first got it and just decided to print as much as I possibly could. So yeah, just looking at things that are a lot more solid, not as much detail in them, and things that are not sort of sticking out in different angles. So for example, this one, BB-8, he is, all the layers just nicely graduate up, and it's really, really good. There's no arms sticking out in weird, wonderful ways. And also R2-D2 with his legs just coming below. That's a nice little file to print as well. So there's just lots of different learnings from it, and there are certainly much more to do with it. So watch this space, you'll see some more things coming through. We've got 2 successful models, so let's take these away and paint them up. I've got a few thoughts on what these are going to look like. So I'm assuming that a lot of the layers are going to show through with the paint, but hopefully with a bit of, I'll actually prime these and maybe I might do a grey undercoat and then do a white, because both of these have got white backgrounds. So I might do that, and then just see if the 2 coats of spray fill in some of those really fine lines. So I might give that a go, and then let's see how we paint these up. So that's it for this video. If you have found this video helpful, consider hitting that like button. It really does help the channel, and while you're there, subscribe. Come along on this amazing journey with me through our miniature world. So yeah, it is a lot of fun and a lot of trial and error as well. So have a fabulous week everyone, and I will see you next week.